Hey guys, what's up? This is Michael from Club Yokai, and today I'm going to be breaking down our beat called Kendo. This is one of the beats on our Suto beat EP. You can check out in our YouTube page, SoundCloud, AudioMac, BeatStars if you want to check it out. Basically just like a small 3-beat pack. This beat specifically, I think a lot of you guys are looking forward to, mostly because it's kind of different and it's a lot more left field in the sense of like trap hip hop beats go. I think mostly because the sample choice and kind of how the rhythm goes throughout the track. It's very different, and I hope you guys are gonna like it. I'm gonna play a quick snippet right here for the guys that haven't listened to it yet. But yeah, there's a short snippet. You can find, the rest of it on either SoundCloud, AudioMac, BeatStars, or YouTube, basically where we upload all of our beats. But yeah, so the main inspiration for this track is I ended up just playing around with an Omnisphere, I think, organ sound, which you can hear in the intro right here. I'm going to turn off all the effects that are on it. I think it's just RC20 is doing most of the heavy lifting, so let me just turn that off real quick. Yeah, so it's some like old, like vintage, old vintage, like random pad synth, but it's playing a really weird MIDI progression. I have it up here that I ended up writing, but what I ended up doing is I resampled the MIDI because I wanted to do like an octave up and an octave down, as you can hear right here. So the reason why I did that is because now it, adds a little bit of variation. It's not basically the same 4 bars repeated again. There's some, differences. And also I think it just adds, makes the beat a little bit more special. So the main sample is actually resampled again for this sound right here, which is, I think, running through Isotope's Trash 2, which is basically just a distortion plugin. We're distorting the hell out of it, and then we're adding, some subtle, these are more like EDM tricks, adding like erosion, redux, and, some like just harmonics with simple delay. But it's kind of like, the same, you recognize the sample, but it's very different because it's being distorted in a specific way. And that fits very well with how simple the drum beat is. If we mute all that tonal stuff, you'll hear it right here. So it's very simple. Like the drums aren't doing too much, and they're very, pretty dry, pretty, not a lot of reverb, they're pretty straight and pretty tight, which makes like a very washed out kind of crazy sound fit really well, since the drums are kind of staying and maintaining that groove. So for this one specifically, the drums are very, very simple, as you can probably tell. Our main thing was kind of to add small drum fills while not really doing anything too crazy. The way we did that is we kind of added different percussion that we found, through Splice or through some of the sample packs we had earlier, to kind of just create, different fills and whatnot throughout the track. So this is the first one right here. So it's kind of like a tuner, I think, pitching up, or it's just reversed for now. So a couple others. There's this one too. Just kind of like adding like atmosphere, like in fill. But as you can probably tell, there's not like too much going on, especially for this one. The main cool things, I think, are just like the subtle effects that are coming in and out. Since there's a lot of space, as you can probably hear doing right here. There's a lot of space in the mix. There's a lot you can add, whether it's fills. I think right here we add a alien glitch sound, which is this. And if we just solo the tonal parts, you can hear right here. As you can probably tell, it fits super well because it's not, in the same frequency range as the main sample, but it's adding enough, stereo, panning, like interesting effects to also top onto it. So it's a good, layered sound. The other thing we like to do is doing a lot of like offbeat chants that kind of repeat once. As you can see, there's this one right here, and there's also this one right here. And those kind of come in here and there. They're kind of like, they're very quiet. They're not really supposed to be like in your face. It's more of like a side thing, as you can probably hear. I think we have this too, which is just another glitchy alien type sound effects that are, I believe they're just playing normally. They're not doing any like beat, or they are doing beat chopping. Okay. So, cool thing in Ableton is you can cut any audio, you can set it to beats mode, and you can set it to the, I believe this is the, what is this? The off transient loop mode. Basically, it chops the sample as if they're eighth notes. So you can listen right here. If we're going to make that effect more extreme, we just drop this number down. You can definitely hear it there. I think we did it 55 just to add a little bit more, because if you turn off completely, it just sounds like noise. It's not, you know, rhythmic at all. So that's why we kind of add a little bit of subtle like rhythm to it, just to keep it, you know, in time, and also just to make sure that like it's there to reinforce the tempo, and also to just keep that groove going for the entire song. So also this too, the hi-hats are pretty sparse throughout. We didn't want to go too overkill, especially in the sections where, you know, there's a lot going on. As you can tell, the main sample is playing pretty much throughout the entire thing. We do a lot of cutting right here. I believe this is another way we resampled it, which is just the original sample, but it's playing through the, you know, glitchy kind of sounds. We also have this one right here too. Just to add some variation, mostly because this is kind of like an outro section. And we ended up having just the drums by themselves with an 808. As you can tell, there's some vinyl playing, like vinyl sound, which is being played through RC20 on the original sample. A good way and a quick tip I would highly recommend is, if you ever use RC20's noise, you want to make sure that you're turning off that track when it's not being used, or when you don't want the noise. For example, you can see it's only really playing the noise when we want it. It cuts out over here, because that's when we don't need it, and that's also when the beat ends. That's the main reason why I want to cut it out, because if you leave it in, we'll play it right here. We'll just mute this other sample for a second. It's basically just adding noise for no reason. Nothing's happening, it's just noise. And we don't really want that, because we're trying to keep this as clean and as tight as possible. So by minimizing the amount of noise and only having a come in sections where you actually want it is always good, because now we're using it more of like a texture rather than just something that's just there. So hope you guys have learned something. The next beat breakdown video is going to be for Hito, so stay tuned for that. If you guys want to see the full length of this video, check out our YouTube page, which is probably going to be, if it's on Instagram TV, that's great too, but I highly recommend checking it out on YouTube first, just because you can see the screen easier, and you can, you know, take down notes and save it for later and whatnot. So this has been Michael from Club Yokai. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.